Welcome back everybody to the channel. I'm Jeff, and today we're going to be talking about the difference between scales, arpeggios, and chords. Stay tuned. So what comes to mind when you think of scales and arpeggios and chords? Except maybe that old Disney song, Scales and Arpeggios. I'm going to first talk about what a scale is, and then I'm going to talk about what a chord is, and then I'm going to talk about what an arpeggio is. I think that would be the best way to do this. Now, when we are thinking of Western music, we think typically of major or minor harmonies. And a major harmony would be something like this. It sounds happy. A minor would sound something like this. It sounds sad or dark. Okay? So a scale can fit into either major or minor. Of course, there are other kinds of scales as well. But mostly what we hear when we are listening to the radio is major or minor keys, major or minor harmonies. Okay? So a scale is usually what we, a good way to describe it would be to think of the song Do, Re, Mi from The Sound of Music. Do, a deer, a female deer. Well, the do, the re, the mi, that's the scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. That is a major scale. If I were to play that scale on my guitar, it would sound like this. I'm going to start at D. So a major scale is a series of notes, 8 notes to be exact, that fit within a key. Here's another one. This is A major. Okay. They all have the same basic sound to them, except the key changes. Okay, so a chord is any set of 3 or more notes. So you think of a music note on a piece of paper. Okay. Any set of 3 or more is a chord. Doesn't matter what they are. The technical definition is 3 or more notes played at the same time. Now, some chords, in fact a lot of chords that you just might make up randomly, won't sound very good. They'll be dissonant, they'll clash, and they're not going to sound very good at all. But some, depending on the intervals between each of the notes in the chord, sound pleasant. They sound nice together. Okay, and so you think of a D major chord like this. I'm sorry, this is actually E. Okay, so that chord sounds nice because the intervals between the notes in the chord are just right. So in this E major chord, it's an E major, it's a D shape I'm playing, but I have the capo on, so this is an E major chord. In this E major chord, I have the root note, that's Do, Do, and then I've got the third, which is Mi, Mi, and then I've got the fifth, which is Sol, Sol, Do, Mi, Sol, and that is the first, the third, and the fifth scale degree. Remember we sang Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Ti, Do. Well, Do, Mi, and Sol out of that scale make up the chord that I just played. Okay, that's E major. Okay? So that's what a chord is. 3 or more notes that typically we would want them to be complementary, sound nice to our ear. And lastly, we've got arpeggios. Arpeggios are broken chords. Okay, so you think of a chord like the one we just played, E major, and if I were to play something like this, that is a broken chord. I didn't play all those notes at the same time, like this. I didn't do that. I broke it up, played one at a time. So that's an arpeggio. If you arpeggiate a chord, you're breaking it up. And if you are a fingerstyle player, then what you're doing is you're arpeggiating chords pretty much all the time, right? Now, if you're not a music student or you never went to music school, us who did go to music school, we would have to go through the daily grind of practicing our scales and arpeggios. We would do that every day to keep our fingers in tip-top shape, playing those scales and arpeggios nice and evenly, in time, and it was kind of grueling, but that's what you have to do if you want to keep playing well. Well, that's it for today's video. The distinction between scales, chords, and arpeggios. I hope you guys learned a lot. Please leave a comment in the comment section. Hit the subscribe button to stay up to date, and I'd appreciate it if you gave me a thumbs up on this video. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.